Trump is trying to end DACA. He wants the whole thing ended, and it's now up to the Supreme Court at this point. So some of you might have heard about this. I was kind of following it and see where this was going. And this is not the first time that Trump wanted to end DACA and was very vocal about it. So this story came out June 28, 2019. The Supreme Court will review Trump's decision to end DACA. So going all the way back to 2017 is when Trump started talking about ending this program for illegal immigrants. The U.S. Supreme Court announced Friday that it will consider the lawfulness of the Trump administration plan to end the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival program, which protects those brought to the U.S. illegally as children from deportation. There's a lot of people upset about the illegal situation, and feel they have more protection under the law than people actually born and raised here, especially in the Black community. They have protections that we don't have. And taking up the DACA cases, the justices are once again wading into a fray on not only the Trump administration hardline immigration policies, but also Trump's effort to roll back many of the signature efforts of the Obama administration. The Trump administration announced in September 2017 that it was winding down DACA, an Obama-era program that provided temporary protection against deportation and work authorization for more than 700,000 young undocumented immigrants. Multiple lower court judges, both in the district court and appeals court levels, ordered the administration to reinstate the program, finding officials had failed to clearly explain the reason for ending the program. In January 2018, a federal judge in California issued the first nationwide injunction requiring the Trump administration to partially revive the DACA program and continue accepting renewal applications from young immigrants whose DACA status was set to expire. Since that ruling, more than 373,000 DACA recipients have had their status renewed, according to federal data. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra, who, along with Attorney General in Maine, Maryland, and Minnesota, brought one of the cases the Supreme Court will review, said in a statement Friday that he looks forward to making our case before the Supreme Court. So far, both lower courts and our legal fight to protect DACA have agreed with us that the Trump administration's attempt to end it was unlawful. I'm sure that's how they're going to fight this whole thing. Me personally, I don't believe this should have been set up in the first place. I kind of side with Trump on this one all the way because I don't think it should be. I mean, you came here by choice and you think you should get perks while you're here? The Justice Department repeatedly pushed to speed up getting the issue before the Supreme Court last year, before any appeal court had even ruled. Officials asked the justices to step in and take up the cases with no success. The department praised the court's decision to take up the cases Friday. We are pleased the Supreme Court agreed that this issue needs resolution. We look forward to presenting our case before the court. Okay. Petitions challenging rulings out of Washington, D.C., California, and New York have been pending before the high courts for months. In the meantime, the U.S. Courts of Appeal for the Ninth Circuit issued an opinion in November siding with the challengers in California. The Second Circuit heard arguments in the New York case in January and has yet to rule. The D.C. Circuit heard arguments in February and also has yet to release its decision. In May, the administration tried again, asking the court to agree to expedite briefings on whether it should hear another DACA case out of Maryland, where the Fourth Circuit had ruled in favor of upholding an injunction reinstating the program. So look like the judges are trying to keep this in place, y'all. It seems like every time Trump has presented it, there's been judges ruling against ending the program. So I don't know. They're trying to say that, Trump administration did not come up with a good enough reason to rescind the program. That's why it keeps getting rejected in court. Wow. I mean, you would think if all these attorneys that Trump have, they would know how to argue this thing, but I guess not. U.S. District Judge John Bates in Washington, D.C., who ordered a full reinstatement of the program, wrote in an August 2018 opinion that he wasn't ruling out the possibility that the Department of Homeland Security had the authority to end DACA. But if it wanted to do so, it had to give a rational explanation. So that's the problem. Trump and his people are not coming up with a good enough reason in the courts, and it's being rejected. So, if they didn't come up with a good enough reason up until this time, they may not have a good enough reason when it comes before the Supreme Court, y'all. Don't be surprised if DACA is still in place after the Supreme Court hears the entire thing. I mean, we'll see what happens, but I know one thing. I think the thing that bothers me the most is how they have protection from the law, and they have all these sanctuary places around the country for these illegals. And you got citizens born and raised here, and they don't even have that kind of protection. I think that's a bit outrageous. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.